Well, what I didn't realize is the way he got that is because, as we had said in the draft earlier on, the Rubik did in fact end up stealing the vacuum and vac them in as the hoof stomp was coming in. I didn't quite realize that in the heat of the moment, but I did get clarification later on. So they do let him have it again. Now, mind you, he won't have the vacuum, but he's got something 20 times better in the Ravage available to be stolen.
Yeah, it's really risky here. Again, that's one thing RNG, I guess, didn't account for. I mean, they had so many bans that they could have worked on that Rubik. It caused so many trouble in game one, and they know Keen Gaming runs this hero a lot. They leave it in draft. They take that Tidehunter confidently. Honestly, I'm starting to get a bit worried for RNG. Very easy pickup for Keen Gaming. That Rubik's gonna have so much utility with the Tidehunter. Even the Chikiro has some really good spells to steal. Just from those two heroes alone, this Rubik's gonna be very happy. Ravage isn't the hardest spell to steal. I think we're gonna see some really, really high-paced action from Keen Gaming as soon as Rubik does hit that level 6. And, you know, their draft is opening up a bit. The Razor pickup from Keen Gaming does mean that they want to be a bit active early on, and that does counteract a lot of really core right-clicking heroes that might come out from RNG. They could go back to that Terrorblade, which hasn't been banned out, but against something like a Razor, I start to worry a bit for your damage output early on.
I mean, against the Razor though, like knowing that Monet's played a lot, like every carry we've seen Monet on does not work well against the Razor, right? Like every single one. Like you've got maybe like the PA could blink away from the static link, but this looks really tough for RNG right now, and they go for the Luna instead. That's not one we've seen so far from them. I don't know how to feel about this personally, John. I think we don't see Luna for a good reason as much as we used to. I feel like it's probably good against the Razor because you can rely more on the Eclipse because Razor wants to be close to you. But then again, like, is it really going to work out that way? Like, you've still got a lone Druid Bear to deal with as well that can tank all that damage. Chen can steal creeps to tank that damage. I'm not sure. And then you've got a Rubik that can take the Eclipse and use it against your whole team.
Yeah, it's a bit iffy. I'm starting to worry a bit for RNG's lineup. It's amazing in pushes, Mike. You have the Chikiri, you have the Luna. You can melt towers fast. And you're pretty good in team fights with the Ravage and the Macro Power follow-up from Jack, Earth Spirit Magnetize coming in, and the Luna Eclipse. It just feels like it's harder to mesh that all in with a great counter initiation Keen Gaming has, and the durability of their heroes. The Lone Druid tanking with his Bear. Chen with his, his global heal, which has been buffed 2 patches in now, I believe. The values have been slowly pumped up. The Razor, who's just innately tanky and speedy, who can take away the right-click damage of Luna. It's just looking like Keen Gaming does have a response here for RNG's lineup. Although it is shaping up quite well. Don't get me wrong, RNG's lineup is really strong, right? Jakiro, Earth Spirit, your support duos are really, really, really good. The team fight from Tidehunter Luna is amazing, and you still have a really strong pool of mid-heroes to choose from. It just feels like it's really cooldown reliant. If you're going to go for these team fights, you're going to have to wait in that Tidehunter every single time, and that Eclipse. And, whereas Keen Gaming, really, they don't rely on that as much. Chen can just build up his jungle army. Lone Druid just needs some farm, and the Bear is going to melt towers anyway.
I mean, you can tell RNG from their draft is just going to be going head first into Keen Gaming. Of course, the push potential is insane. You've already mentioned how good Luna is, but you've got the Jakiro and the Pugna now as well. Keen Gaming, you could almost, like, you can't argue that they've got the better late game with the Lone Druid, but you could argue that they're not too bad in the early game themselves with that Rubik Chen. Even the Razor, of course, and that Lone Druid can be very effective. I don't know. That Pugna puts an interesting spanner in the works because it does really show you where they're going with this draft. And God knows that RNG love to be aggressive early, so we know they've got it in to run that kind of early aggression and try to push down all the towers kind of strategy that we've seen them do over and over again. Keen Gaming.
Does look like that, Mike. I do agree. RNG's draft has shaped up for early aggression, early objectives coming out. I'm not sure if they're going to let Monet farm the entire time because they will need him for a nice push going that high ground sooner or later. But by themselves, by just Mad and Setsu can melt those towers quite quick, but eventually you're going to want Monet to join these fights just a bit earlier, as Luna does have some nice power spikes in the mid game. Keen Gaming does go with that Tiny. It is a pick they value a lot, so a lot of comfort picks for Keen Gaming actually coming out here. The LD, the Rubik, the Tiny, all really comfort picks for Keen. And it's a very well put together draft. I am slightly worried for RNG. I know it's a really well tied up draft. I just have an odd feeling that Keen Gaming's ready for this with what they have. I do like that last pick Pugna though. It's going to cause some issues for the Lone Druid, especially if that bear. If he's going to go for the bear build, just decrepifying the bear, it ruins everything. Your DPS is gone.
Well, I mean, Keen Gaming, they did follow up with the Tiny, directly countering Pugna. And we saw this the other game, right? The last pick Pugna into the Tiny. It's just funny to see that Setsu and Ying have just switched roles now. And they're going to be playing the exact same mid lane. And ironically enough, John, it seems like Monet does seem to really like pigs, because not only does he spam them for the new year, but he's also riding one right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's the year of the pig, Mike. It's auspicious, I guess. I know. I would have no clue, but it's a nice looking mount.
Oh,
no pig spam.
No pig spam yet. There's a tree.
Oh, this is worrisome, Mike. I'm feeling bad for RNG. Trees are coming out, but where's the pigs?
This is very concerning. Another tree. He is putting them in some kind of pattern. I'm not sure what it is. Could just be completely random and I'm overthinking things, John. I probably am.
More than likely, Mike.
But no pigs.
One thing I want to point out, Mike. A very next level play from Monet would be to level up Moonglaves and Lunar Blessing, get a point in the clips, but never level up Lucent Beam and have Rubik steal it every single time. I think that's going to be a 200 IQ play that we're not going to see, because that's way too smart to do, of course.
Monet currently having a little party by himself, John. The piglets have finally come out. Was holding back for a moment, but we did see 3 or 4 of them. Meanwhile, RNG, Keen Gaming not in position for any bounty runes right now. They give every bounty rune away? What's the plan here? Dark?
They want to shake it up a bit?
But bounty runes are pretty valuable. Dark was waiting for that courier. He spotted it out. He's got a nice deep ward there. And I guess this is it. RNG aren't expecting this one. And Dark, a very nice start. Fair enough. Screw the bounty runes. Let's just kill the courier instead. And he does do so. A very nice quick play for them. I don't feel like they needed to leave every single bounty rune for that sake, but I guess it's still pretty valuable play coming out from Keen Gaming.
I guess if that's what it takes to secure that early courier kill, I think it's very much worthwhile, Mike. You slow down that mid item timing, and you just make it a bit easier for Ying to get the edge on Setsu here.
Certainly so. And Setsu, luckily he did bring out some regen on the courier before it died, but still, like you said, once Ying starts harassing this Pugna, which he already has started with the Avalanche, it's going to be real hard for Setsu to remain in this lane. And we'll see if Ying can have as good as a game as Setsu had last time around, even though they didn't end up pulling through, but 23 kills is nothing to sneeze at. The bot lane, Monet will be up against Old 11 on that LD. Kaka, of course, will be there on that Rubik, and we do have Mad there in support of Monet on that Luna. So, I mean, for the moment, it should be a pretty safe lane for Monet to farm in. Old 11, though, once you get a couple more levels up, especially in that Spirit Bear, and it's able to entangle, that's when the problems really start to begin.
Oh, for sure. It is pretty much a slow start here. I don't think we're going to see too much aggression from this dual lane of Keen Gaming.
You say that, but RNG disagree with you, John. Old 11 being chased down right now. Fu doesn't have any other way to stop him, but they do deal a hell of a lot of damage, and he will have to back off. And he only has 1 tango left, so if they do that one more time, unless he brings out some more recovery items, he might have to make a run back. course, I suppose Dark could always just send him back if he was down at the bot lane, but he isn't for the moment.
Yeah, I think I think the reason why Keen Gaming is pulling out these lanes is that they don't want the Lone Druid to match up against Flyby. And I think that is a bit of a rougher lane for Lone Druid. It's just that since they're going to throw him down on bot, it's going to be a pry lane against dual lane, and I think that's going to be hard no matter what. Even if you had 3 heroes down here for Keen Gaming, it's still a very rough exchange, as honestly, the Lone Druid does take a few levels to come online in the laning phase. Maybe level 2 Bear is when you kind of expect it to at least do a little bit more, but it's still kind of lackluster in comparison to a Luna.
Flyby gonna notice Dark in his jungle and actually getting purged up by the controlled creep from the Chen, and now the link comes in by Old Chicken. Flyby does appear to just be dead here, and a great play coming up from Dark. John, a lot of people don't think about that Banisher, but that Purge actually does a lot of work in the early game.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous just how great this creep is. It's a 5-second duration, 3-second cooldown on that Purge. Can really mess up an enemy hero quite fast and really turn ganks on its head. So nice pickup from Dark and really good early aggression coming out from him. This is what you definitely want to see when you're playing a Chen. You definitely have to be active early on to really maximize his impact.
Oh, nice kill onto the Spirit Bear. I believe that did end up going to Arfu on that Earth Spirit, so he gets a nice little bounty of 300 gold. That will allow him at the very least to pick up those brown boots that he needs. Old 11 does of course respawn the bear immediately, but you certainly don't want to give too many of those away during a game because they are worth a lot. But Dark is making the rotation as well on this Chen. In fact, he may just go back to his jungle, but he's making his way down to the mid lane. KG actually doing a lot of damage there. Ying, the avalanche toss. Setsu barely survives and salves up immediately afterwards. But that salve honestly didn't do too much. He still had the null talismans in his bag while he was salving up. Meanwhile, bot lane, however, Old 11 skipping the creep wave does cop a bit of damage from Mad on that Jakiro, but he will be perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's again just a bit even here so far. I guess the roughest lane for RNG right now is definitely that top lane. Flyby has not been having a good time on Tidehunter, and it's kind of rare when you see a Tidehunter 3 levels, 2 levels behind the opposite laner. I mean, it's been a rough time for Flyby here, just copying so much from Old Chicken and from our Chen, who's been doing a lot of work on the map, but is currently rotating down bot.
Well, no, he's actually just rotating back to the tier 1 tower. Flyby, I mean, you said it, he can't farm like this. I mean, at level 3, he's at least got a level 2 Anchor Smash, so he can farm the jungle now, but Keen Gaming, that safe lane Razor is going to have an absolutely free time. No competition whatsoever for him. Tide cannot do anything about it. So, I mean, look, Razor's not really one of those heroes that requires that much farm to be useful, but if you do give him the farm, John, he kind of becomes unkillable.
Yeah, it's really hard to control hero. Yeah, it definitely does. You will have to watch out. Even if Luna can depend on the Eclipse for damage, early on it's not that amazing. I mean, that static link will still mess you up if Old Chicken does opt to focus on Luna. I think they pretty much will focus Luna when the time comes for those big team fights.
Old Chicken's found Flyby again, John. And Flyby runs into the tree line, has no TP. Old Chicken, though, will back off. He doesn't have any more creeps to tank for him. And meanwhile, it looks like Ying actually ends up finding Arfu. Not sure whereabouts that was, but Arfu apparently died around this area. So, the bear, though, Old 11, may end up giving another one away here. Mad would not get close enough to right-click it one more time, and for the moment, the bear will be safe. But a 0-2 now. 2k net worth lead going the way of King Gaming. This is certainly the start that the Dire side wanted. It's game number 2.
Definitely so, Mike. It feels like Monet is going to have a bit of a rough time early on here. His farm isn't lagging behind too bad, but he is under a lot of pressure in the lane. I'm really not sure if RNG will opt to play the same way as they did in game 1, give Monet a lot of space to farm up, with Setsu just buying a lot of space. I don't think the Pugna has that kind of pressure on the map compared to a Tiny.
Certainly not. Oh, Arthur will find himself a nice Rubik, some very nice body blocks as well onto Kaka. Kaka should just be dead, and he will give the kill away to Setsu on that Pugna, who does seem like he was beginning to need that extra gold. Meanwhile, old Chicken top lane again, just being a real nuisance towards Flyby on that Tidehunter. Chicken again. Top of the last hits board. Nothing too surprising about that though. Again, he basically has a free farm lane. Like, even if the Tide's there, it's not like old Chicken's exactly missing any last hits because of his presence.
Definitely not. In fact, you know, with this kind of lane matchup, old Chicken didn't even need to max static link. Went for unstable current instead to farm up that much faster. So, and that he is. He still has enough damage coming out with just level 1 static link to kill Flyby again.
Yeah, they have Kaka there with the lift and one more right click. In fact, make it one more after that, and that will get the job done. Old Chicken again finding himself a secondary kill during this game, number 2. RNG finding themselves on the back foot quite early. Thing was as well, we did talk about how with their draft they would need a decent, not necessarily a massive lead, but a decent lead to be able to pull off the aggression that they need with this draft. But King Gaming, seemingly understanding that, are also applying that pressure very well with their own draft, and it looks like RNG are going to be sitting back and trying to get, you know, catch up for quite a while at this rate.
It certainly feels like it, Mike. I'm really starting to look at this Pugna pick and starting to doubt its effectiveness. We're not seeing too much chip damage coming out in that tier 1 just yet down mid, and I'm not sure how effective his rotations can be.
Well, they're going to get Kaka, surely. So he is... No, he will end up going down. Fu, Avalanche Toss is there from Ying, and support for a support trade. I guess neither is going to be too upset about that. But it just goes to show, like, they can't even find a support pick-off right now without getting punished back for it.
Yeah, again, the positioning from Keen Gaming, just where they are in the map every single time, has been pretty on point, and Ying has been pretty active around too. I think whenever Setsu have gone from the lane, Ying has opted to disappear as well, to try to maximize his presence while he has no lane partner, which is pretty smart of him, as you really don't want to give Pugna too much space to grow big as well. He is pretty farm dependent and level dependent, so every time that guy's gone, you just make sure you contest whatever he's trying to do.
There was a few lane swaps going on. Monet now just goes to the jungle, starts farming that up instead. This does leave Old Levin alone at that bot lane to farm up with the Spirit Bear, and well, his Spirit Bear currently is holding a Midas already, and the Radiance has been queued up as well. Mid lane, they are going to make a roll on onto Ying on that Tiny. This will be a massive kill if they can find it, but it doesn't look like they have the damage output to get the job done, especially while Kaka's there to help out. The only thing they really do is force out a Shrine usage from Ying, and it doesn't look like they're really going to mind too much because they have 3 heroes that need the HP and mana anyway.
Yeah, it's not the biggest loss in the world, and that's pretty much the second Shrine cooldown anyway. You know, we're right about that time, so not a big loss for King Gaming. That does give them the opportunity to smoke up and find a kill for themselves.
And poor Flyby will be the target again. Does he have vision? Looks like he does. Flyby makes a run early on, and he should be safe. Though while all that was happening, Old 11 gets caught out. Didn't quite catch how that happened, but it looks like Mad ended up picking up the kill. You can see a Macropire was used in the process. That is a big pickup, but while all that's happening, they're losing their top tier 1 tower.
Yeah, it's at the very least it's probably one of the, well, actually it's a pretty pivotal tower to lose. I feel you lose some control in your top jungle for that. You can't contest that top jungle for the dark side as effectively as you could without that tier 1. And it does get a bit harder to control that area, although neither side seems satisfied in farming anyway. Monet is back to AFK farming with that Morbid Mask now. So it does look like they will try to buy Monet some space to at least get a fast mat stall before he's up and running in the team fights.
Well, the side of RNG are trying to push in that top tier, the bot tier 1 tower, but while they're doing that, they're losing their own top tier 2 tower, and it looks like it's just gone. They will get the deny off at the very least, but Keen Gaming, they understood the risk, and they're more than happy with that. Just more map control going their way, and I suppose the effectiveness of their draft right now is really showing. Like, they've got that Chen. allowing those early pushes. This Razor is just so farmed up. Ying, in fact, is just going after Setsu as well. He won't quite find him, but Arfu rotated and he gets avalanche tossed immediately and ends up going down. And they may end up losing a tier 1 mid tower out of this.
Yeah, I'm really surprised with how fast King Gaming is forcing this game out. I kind of expected RNG to push a bit harder with the Jakiro and the Pugna and the Luna, but it doesn't look like they're just that keen on taking out Keen's towers right now, and they've just lost to an entire lane up top. They've lost their T1 mid. Their T1 bot is probably going to be under pressure fairly soon because Lone Druid can push quite fast as well. So I am wondering what the game plan here for RNG is, as, again, they have a pretty potent push lineup that isn't pushing.
Well, the problem is, John, and we talked about it in the draft, right? They needed a good start. Right now, it looks like they've been shut down so hard. The top 3 net worths just a second ago were the 3 cores of Keen Gaming. The only one seemingly catching up and, you know, sneaking in there is the Luna. But Monet doesn't... It's a bit too early for a Luna to get involved. I mean, she's gone the Mask of Madness build and started farming up for the late game. The rest of the heroes, they don't have anything right now. And in fact, Flyby again will have to go down for the team. Now it looks like they will try to find a return kill, but I don't know about this one. Arfu jumps in. They will find Kaka, but Old Chicken already has a BKB. We're 13 minutes into the game. Setsu's being chased down. With that level 1 static link, it's really not that much damage to steal, but they'll find Mad as well, and that'll give Old Chicken another kill, and he will now be on a killing spree. And it's getting from bad to worse for the side of RNG.
This is probably going to be a tier 2 going the way of King Gaming. I don't think they're going to back off at this rate.
Well, King Gaming, it just feels like there's no reason to. They could play this safely because RNG aren't backing off themselves, but they do seem to be winning out these engagements. They do opt to play it safe. Of course, we can't forget, the Ravage has been available for a while. Only thing is, every time they're catching out Flyby before the team fight breaks out, and that way they just know that that big ultimate is never going to be there. Not to mention, by the way, Kaka on the Rubik has more XP than the Tidehunter does at the moment. In fact, they're going into Old Chicken. There's the Ravage as well. He's going to use something else. He will get the Anchor Smash off before Kaka can steal, and Old Chicken will just go for the BKB TP play. Rest will back off to safety. And while all that was happening, John, every bounty rune was taken again by the side of King Gaming.
And that was the first Ravage of the game, Mike, and
yeah,
that was extremely underwhelming. Sure, you managed to force the BKB out from Razor. Honestly, I don't think Old Chicken will care. Even if he goes down to a 5-second BKB, I honestly don't think he cares too much. He just wants to avoid that initial Ravage, really. He doesn't... There's really not much else to dodge besides that Ravage. Maybe the Decrepify, but you certainly don't care too much about the Jakiro for the most part. And I guess the Eclipse is nice to dodge, but Razor's innately tanky enough, and I don't think he's ever going to be in a situation where he'd want to be caught out alone. So he should be able to survive most of the bounces of that Eclipse as well, unless he gets extremely unlucky. So honestly, BKB wasted for that is pretty much not too big of a deal for Keen Gaming. I'm just a bit worried for RNG right now. If that is the first Ravage of game, that's not a good sign for things to come, Mike.
Well, they're putting all their eggs into one basket, and those eggs are named Monet right now. The Luna just continuing to farm up. He has caught up significantly with the side of Keen Gaming, but nowhere near enough to really start engaging with them. That does mean, unfortunately for RNG, that they're going to definitely lose another tier 2 tower in the process. Now, only one out of tier 2 remains. And make that a Radiance as well, by the way. Coming out on this Lone Druid. Everything that King Gaming is doing right now is absolutely perfect from their end of things. They might even go for a tier 3. In fact, it looks like they are going to try and go for a tier 3 and try to finish this game early, which I can't blame them because RNG, I don't know if they can defend this.
I don't think they can, Mike. They don't have Ravage for half a minute. I don't think Luna's ready to fight. It's going to be a rough defense here for RNG.
Well, the tier 3's gone. The Decrepify was there onto the bear, but that only lasts so long. Ice Path as well was stolen by Kaka, so you got to watch out for that one. And, well, the roll in from Arfu is not going to be fantastic. The rest of his team didn't even bother trying to follow up. Flyby, a couple more seconds for Ravage to be available, though he does get Ice Path up and he can't afford to die right now. His team does need him in this fight. Macropire doing God's work, but God's work doesn't seem to be enough. They do lose the melee racks. The Spirit Bear barely gets away with about 250 HP, and Keen Gaming claimed their first racks at the 17-minute mark of game number 2.
I mean, this is just really calculated from Keen, and I guess it comes down to draft. They've got 3 of their comfort heroes just from the draft, Mike. Almost seems like RNG wasn't ready for this kind of gameplay coming out from Keen, because they got all their comfort heroes. They got the Tiny, they got the Lone Druid, they got the Rubik, and the Chen, which seems like a pocket pick for them. And I think RNG is definitely caught by surprise here with just how effective they're running this draft. RNG really has to depend a lot on Monet now. He is getting a lot of free farm. Is it going to be enough when he comes out and decides to fight for the defense?
Well,
I'm not sure.
Again. And I agree with the points you're making here, like, because we saw the same thing last game, where they gave Monet pretty much all the time in the world to farm, and he did. He farmed like a madman, and he almost made it back. But Keen Gaming, they've had so much experience, they have so many great players on their team. You know, they do tend to be able to come back from those kind of games. And, well, this game is a lot more dominant than last game was. The last tier 3 of the map is gone now, and Keen Gaming, again, just gonna go high grade. Why the hell not? Like, how do you even contest this? Ice Path will come out. Monet has not moved. He continues to take down the tier 1 tower. Meanwhile, it looks like Flyby is about to die, and he has Ravage available, but he doesn't want to commit it. That Radiance Burn almost ticking him down. Ice Path will save the day, though. Arfu may not be so lucky, and they get Flyby anyway, thanks to Old Chicken. Setsu trying to Nether Blast what he can, but... oh my.
Mike, did you see that Ying tossed in Flyby in the middle of his team? I thought Flyby was going to pop a Ravage just to try to make something happen, but... I'm not sure. That looked like a pretty good Ravage opportunity, and there was enough follow-up. It almost felt like a mistake from Ying, but RNG just opts to save a Ravage for a later fight.
I mean, I don't even know if Keen Gaming are afraid of Ravage right now, to be honest with you, because there's no follow-up damage. In fact, they're going to toss him back again. He will throw the Ravage this time, but where's the damage? Arfu, he will roll in. They do get healed up by the Chen, and nothing happens out of it. That's kind of what I meant, though. Like, Monet's not there. He finally comes in. He has the level 2 Eclipse, but it's too late. The Ravage is gone now. So this is basically another mid-rack's gone by the looks of it. In fact, Keen Gaming, they will play it safely. They will back off. But you see my point, John. Like, the Ravage literally did nothing.
Yeah, definitely didn't. I think Monet definitely had to be there a bit earlier, but he has been farming up. He does have his BKB up now. Is that going to be enough to contest Keen? Probably not, Mike. It's most definitely not enough. He needs, like, 2 more items to really match up that LD and the Razor. If he gets a very good Eclipse on 2 targets, sure. But the name of the game for Keen Gaming right now is 5-man push. And I don't think Luna's ready for that 5-man push yet.
Look, if there's any team that can come back from this, it's probably going to be RNG. They've done it quite a few times. We could see it again this game, but this is going to be the hardest game RNG have played so far. I've never seen them this far behind. Monet, again, is farming like a madman, but he still finds himself behind the Razor and behind the Lone Druid. Old Chicken, Old 11. Both old, but both very wise, John. They know how to save their money. Been saving for a long time.
They're going to lose Roshan as well.
Yeah.
They do have Vision out for this, but the Ravage is going to be up in a minute. It's not going to be up in time for this Rosh, so it's definitely just going to be given away here. I'm not sure if they're going to be confident enough to just walk in with Eclipse.
They get scanned out. Ice Path is there. I mean, it feels like they've got to go for a try here, but like you mentioned, without the Ravage to help, it looks like a lost cause, and I think RNG agree. They just stay out of it. I mean, Arfu could go for a steal, though. Again, he is famous for these steals, especially on that Earth Spirit, but the timing isn't there. They have absolutely no way to check the Roshan's health. Arfu will be forced to just back off to safety again. Hey, top lane has to be careful not to get caught out. Although it does look like King Gaming have just gone back to the mid tower. And, ooh, that was an interesting toss. Mad. Does get used up. And we'll go down regardless. Without that, there's no buyback as well on the Jakiro. So I don't know how they defend. The Eclipse comes out, but it tickles them, John. I mean, they're laughing about that right now. Monet, BK beat up as well.
Ooh,
Now
that felt like a bit of a mistake. It definitely felt like a bit of a mistake. Just the Ravage didn't come out.
Yeah, it could have been a misclick. I mean, Flyby wasn't in position for the Ravage. You can't blame him for that either. He has no way to be there. And now, well, Ying jumps in with the Tiny. And with that, Monet, I don't know how you survive this one without a BKB, sir. He's being chased down by Old Chicken, who's afraid of nothing. They will life drain just to save him, but Setsu's going to lose his own life. Or is he? Old Chicken turns around. Doesn't get the kill, but regardless, they've taken down the mid-racks. Arfu, magnetize on all heroes. But again, there is no follow-up for this magnetize. And the bear will continue chasing him down, and Arfu gets rooted in place and is dead. 1 Rax remaining, and they begin immediately. Arfu, no buyback available on him. Ice Path will end up dropping. The Spirit Bear does not give a flying crap about that, John. Old Chicken will back off. Ravage only connects on 2 heroes and a bear, and it doesn't seem to do much. Although, hold on a minute, they found Ying on that Tiny, but where's the follow-up? It's not there in time. They've lost Flyby again, and there's the GG call. 24 minutes in, Keen Gaming finished this game off, and John, we have to extend a big congratulations. Keen Gaming will be your final China Close Qualifier team that makes it through to the major. Big congratulations.
Yeah, definitely big news for them. Really looking forward to these guys finally, having another shot at the major. I want to see how far these guys can go. Really well put up fight from RNG. Game 2 just felt a bit wonky. I think it definitely comes down to draft. They were caught a bit off guard from that opening from Keen. It's so strange to see the Chen and Lone Druid come out, but Keen Gaming runs that a lot. Probably not too prepared for it, and just, it just kind of fell apart. Good effort from them. Game 1 was definitely much closer. Game 2 was far more convincing for Keen Gaming, and they get to go through into Stockholm, Mike.
Definitely do, and I hope they do well. It's always great to see, these smaller teams and these, that are always in the close qualifier. Love to see them. I mean, we recently saw eHome putting up pretty good fights at these DPC events, and I mean, they're going to the next one again, right? eHome and LGD will be joining Keen Gaming, of course. They did make it just yesterday night. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, unfortunately, that is the end of the close qualifiers for China region. I believe there is a bit more for the other regions, which may be coming up on this stream very soon. I'll have to just double check. But nevertheless, it is MLPdota. It's johnxfire. If you enjoyed, consider following us on Twitter. Otherwise, you guys have a great night and enjoy the major when it's finally around. Thanks for watching.